Before we begin the video, if you haven't yet, come on down and join my Discord server. Link is down in the description. Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today I'm doing my seasonal halftime special. This is something I've been doing since the very first month of my channel, and basically halfway through every season, I make a video evaluating how the season is doing so far. So I'll start by talking about the things that are going well this season, and then we'll talk about any bad things. Let's get started. One thing I'm really happy about in this season is the Nia and Maya relationship. This is one of the central parts of the first few episodes, and I love that this season serves as the necessary follow-up to Hands of Time in this way. Seabout has established that Nia isn't very close with her parents, and this is because of her independent nature, but also because she never grew up with them. On the other hand, Nia's mother recognizes this but wants to make up for lost time by helping Nia, which annoys her. In particular, the conversation about sacrifices in episode 4 was one that I really enjoyed. It's a very well done story, and one that's made Maya a lot more interesting of a character. Every good season needs a good villain, and so far Seabout has delivered. In comparison to villains like the Skull Sorcerer, Prince Kalmar is far more typical of a cartoon villain, and his overall design and voice feels pretty cartoony, but is that a bad thing? Definitely not. Kalmar reminds me a lot of Pythor from season 1. He's not the most original, but at the same time, it's been 14 seasons, so it's not a big deal. I really like his voice acting and that Australian accent, but to me, he's also a combination of great qualities of past villains. He's got the manipulative skills that Vex had, the lust for chaos that Chen had, and the royal background that Harubi had. He's also established himself as ruthless and cold when he killed his father without hesitation. Overall, a great character so far. Although the main backstory will likely come in the second half, Seabout's first half has hinted at some very exciting lore. The first episode reveals that wind and water are Wajiro's elements, and were stolen from her, which could explain why Chen didn't need them in season 4. We've also learned that the Merlopians existed before the first Bijutsu Master arrived. Both of these new pieces of information are significant to the history and creation of Ninjago. However, they also kind of allude to a possibly worse side of the first Bijutsu Master. After all, he did basically colonize Ninjago and took land from the Merlopians, and he also stole Wajiro's elements. Yes, aside from the first episode, we don't have much backstory yet, but what's been hinted at sounds very good so far. Season 15 has had a pretty strong start so far, however there are parts that aren't as good. Let's take a look. I do like Maya, and she's better than she was in Hands of Time. However, I find that many times in this season, she's annoying or cliche. The second episode really pushes this mob stereotype, as does the third. In the fourth, there is that nice conversation about sacrifices, but she goes back to the mob cliche in some of the next episodes, such as when she mentions that Kalmar should be scolded. In much of the second episode, though, she's not the best. She feels overly energetic in an unnatural way. That's not to say this character is bad, because she's not, but as the season progresses and gets more serious, I think some of the humor-related stereotypes should start fading away too. This isn't a huge issue, but we've barely seen any of Kai and Cole in this season. They've really only been in the first 2 episodes and a bit of the third. This is because Seabout is one of those seasons where the ninjas split up, so there's the main team that went underwater, and this is the B team. I do, however, feel like it would have been nice to see them more, or get more of an explanation as to why they didn't come. We never got one for Cole, and Kai mentions something about Wu studying the Masters of Fire, but this hasn't been followed up on yet. I'm fully aware the season will go back to this team in the second half, but neither Kai nor Cole had much focus in the island, so I feel like it would have been nice if they were in the main team instead. That's what I think of this season so far. Overall, it's very good, and it's nice to see another season 13 level season. This one may even be better. Now we're going to discuss some theories for the rest of this season. Please be warned that we will be discussing spoilers in detail for the finale and other episode descriptions. One interesting thing about this season is it confirms that Clutch Powers stole the Storm Amulet from the Keepers and was successful in his mission. After doing this, he brought it back to the Explorers Club in Ninjago. Some of us were expecting some sort of siege or invasion of the island, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. The island does seem to appear in a few episodes, but most of the Storm Amulet story is surprisingly going to take place on Ninjago. Of course, it looks like Kalmar probably will get his hands on the amulet and steal it around episode 10 or 12, but season 14's ending seemed to show that the amulet was safe. Season 15 now says otherwise. In Season 11 and 12, the final battles were confined to the last episodes and were 11 minutes. In Season 13, the final battle was the last 2 episodes, but CBOUD seems to be making a fantastic choice with the decision to release Wajira in episode 13. This leaves 4 episodes devoted to the final battle, which, if you think about it, is a 44-minute finale. First off, we'll get to see way more of Wajira than we did of the Great Devourer or Preeminent, but the finale also is a lot longer, which means the chances of a rushed ending are much lower. Every Wildbrain finale has had the problem of being too short and rushed, but it looks like CBOUD may finally solve this issue. Now we're going to discuss some finale spoilers, one of which is the likely death or defeat of Prince Kalmar. It's very familiar. In the finale, Wajira grows tired of Kalmar's anger, and eventually just consumes him whole, which is basically very similar to Pythor. The difference is that Kalmar and Wajira do work together for some time, whereas Pythor is turned on instantly. Is this the most creative? Definitely not, but I don't really think it's a huge problem. Another issue I have with Wildbrain villains is they usually don't receive very satisfying conclusions, such as being exiled or going to jail. While getting eaten by the big creature isn't original either, it's much more creative than jail and is somewhat dark by Ninjago standards, especially if Kalmar dies for good, unlike Pythor. Our final topic today has to do with the fate of Nia, because it's pretty much confirmed that something big will happen to her. The description confirms that she will defeat Wajira, but then says goodbye and dives into the ocean. What exactly does this mean? An easy guess would be that she might die, but some details here could disprove that. If she has a chance to say goodbye, is she really dying then? What I've seen people suggest, and something I believe in myself, is that somehow Nia is forced to stay in the ocean. After defeating Wajira, she is sea-bound and must leave Ninjago for some reason. What that reason is, I don't know, but the same thing could have happened to whoever last defeated Wajira. I do feel like we'll see Nia back in future seasons, but whatever happens is sure to be exciting. CBOUD is a very good Ninjago season so far, and one that is most comparable to Season 13. Their first halves are about equally good, with Season 13's being just a tiny bit better, but this season's first half still gets an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know. Share your thoughts on these seasons so far below, and I'll see you next time.